All right. So happy Sunday, everybody. Uh, Everything is okay, I guess. You know, it's tough when you want to find out if you did or did not do something, what will happen. And I was a guinea pig, been a guinea pig for many, many years. And then I'm even a guinea pig the last 6 years. Now, my dog, this is interesting. Does everything need to be happy all the time? When it's earned its place to be happy and mobile and efficient and self-sufficient. I mean, we all came from a point where we had to have somebody help us at one point for a few years, for many years, until we were able to be on our own. And even with the JJ world, I had you guys help me out. People next to me, people around me, whatever, were helping me out up to a certain point. And then I figured out that I need to do things on my own in order to evolve, because you can only take so much help before then you have to finally start evolving. And then you have to want to evolve and be self-sufficient and be independent. And so, there's nothing wrong with when at some point you go back down to square one, and then you need to evolve and you need to have people help you for a certain amount of time. And then at some point you do it on your own, and you never ask for that kind of help ever again, because you've learned now how to avert major catastrophic situations, and you have safety nets for yourself that doesn't depend upon other people. But there are companies and systems out there that you can employ as a safety net for anything that is supposedly could be catastrophic. So right now my dog is going through earning her next life. Just like when I was so sick and could hardly move, I was earning my next life. And yeah, you don't know how long it's going to be. Let me tell you, when I was sick last summer, I figured I would have the long COVID. I figured I would have the long COVID, and who's to say how long I would have to deal with that enemy, because I didn't know how strong that enemy in my body was. And so I had to find out on a daily basis. And it was a day-by-day basis to figure out how long you have to deal with this enemy inside of you. Why is it an enemy? Because it's competing for resources, and it's taking your mobility down, it's taking your thought processes down, it's making you go back to baser level instincts. What are basic level instincts? Where you're just eating, sleeping, pooping, peeing, and that's it. There isn't any creativity, there isn't any major productivity. It's just straight surviving. Straight up fucking survival. Well, my dog is in that right now. We don't know how long this cyst is going to be, but it is getting bigger, yes. But there's nothing that we can do, because you can see now, obviously, like I said before, you can see the trauma that she went through when someone took her to the vet and had things aspirated over and over and over again, as well as who knows how many surgeries she went through. I have no idea. I only know what the Humane Society told me, which was that she had an operation, and they couldn't tell me how big that cyst was when she got it or had it removed. They couldn't tell me anything, but she had an operation prior to me getting her, and that was it. So who knows what her prior owners did, which is probably why she ended up at the Humane Society or left roaming the streets, because they didn't know what to do. And that's what my speculation was. And I wrote that somewhere on my Facebook. And so when you look at anything in your body as an enemy and you attack it, you make it stronger, which is why the whole MK Ultra and why we have war. Because when one country who's stronger attacks a smaller country who's weaker, not only, you can look at it, they're trying to take resources. Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is they're making that country stronger with all the trauma. Yeah, it's hard to watch. Let me tell you, I'm listening to what's going on with the Russians and the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainian women are going through some hell with all the sexual assaults that's going on. And no, it's not right to do that. But when you think about what war is, it is first getting rid of the weak, and it's also making the strong stronger and the weak weaker. And the cream will rise to the top. And I can't say it's the right way or the wrong way. It is what it is. Because we know if you never go through any adversity or any hardship, you have absolutely no capacity to deal with pain, no capacity to deal with hardship, no capacity to deal with evolution. As we're seeing in our society, anyone that has never dealt with real adversity and are always being bailed out by their parents or the system and never really had to be accountable, they can't handle pain, they can't handle hardship, they can't handle really anything that is change. And then they fold in the system, and the system obviously can catch them and let them fold in a nice way, as nice as they can make them fold. And so right now, my dog is going through paying for the sins of the father yet again. I keep saying, because, and so I'm noticing that when they attacked her cysts, her tumors, when they did invasive surgery as well as aspirate, yeah, you're seeing how the body had those hormones held back by the anti-inflammatories, by the antibiotics. You can see now that her body's going through now a tsunami of retroactive evolution because the system held back what was supposed to happen, which was the pain of release, the pain of regeneration, and was supposed to release those damaged cells, but they didn't. They kept those damaged cells within, and so those damaged cells replicate, and then you also have the defense systems build up, like the white blood cells, which is why her cyst is getting bigger, because now her body is going through retroactive evolution, which is then building up white blood cells, and the war that was started 8 or 10 years ago is now finally able to go through the actual fight, because the veterinary system and the medical holistic system stops the war before it happens, and then you are building up pressure, and the war is still going, but it's in a smaller scale, but you have no way to release it because you don't want to feel the pain of release, and so it builds up so much pressure, and of course people get bigger. That's where like morbid obesity comes from. That's a lot of trauma that is building up pressure in the body. So you can imagine how many tumors, how many cysts are in people's bodies that are morbidly obese. Even big men. Why do you think they're so big? Because they have so much pressure building. But it's not tumor. It's not cancerous. It's people may have tumors, but they're not cancerous. People may have cysts in their body, but the thermodynamics is that they're able to hold the line. The body is able to handle that kind of competition, and so it's kind of like at a relative equilibrium, sort of. I mean, you don't want complete equilibrium because that's death. And so each side is taking what it needs to keep building up. But at some point, whatever competition that's in your body is going to then metastasize and start growing faster than you're able to hold on to the resources and retain them. And this is the aging process. This is where you get diagnosable conditions like stage 4 cancer, where you can't come back from it. See, if you had stage 1 cancer, if you're diagnosed, you can come back from that without even using any oncology. You just start eating differently, like breaking your food down into baby food and pulling out the fecal programming. So I noticed that since her thing is getting bigger, she was getting smaller. I had to change the food today and put some more, I didn't put fish in it this time, but now I put, her high protein plus the fish, plus then, some fruits, plus then half and half instead of milk, because she needs to keep up with that thing inside of her. And yes, the thing is, it's starting to open up, that her little egg is starting to open up, and you can see a little bit of seepage come out, nothing crazy. I put, I put like a cold or a hot compress, not too hot, but like a warm compress with a little bit of salt water and olive oil, and I just keep watch over it. But there's nothing that you can do except keep yourself and the animal comfortable during this process because of how much medical trauma. Now you're like, well, wouldn't it be easier to put her down? How are you going to fucking learn? How is she going to learn and be stronger? Right now, she's gaining strength, even though it's painful, yes. I'm not lying saying it, I'm sure it isn't painful, but she's not screaming or crying. She's not under the influence of any drugs. But she has to grit her teeth and get through, just like I had to go through the process. I mean, if people were suffering and crying and you think, oh gosh, you're crying, oh gosh, you had a cut on your hand and you're suffering. Do you need to be put down for that? I mean, that's essentially what people are saying, that, oh, nothing can suffer. If you suffer at all, even crying or have, a down moment, that you shouldn't live. And everyone should be happy, happy, joy, joy, all about love, and nobody should suffer for anything at all. And that's not fucking realistic. That's not life. That is actually death. That's rest in peace. And a lot of people promote the rest in peace attitude. Or they put on a front and say, oh yeah, I'm all happy, but they are struggling inside. But they have to put on a front because they have to put on that face for their Facebook, their friends, or family to come off strong when they know, fuck, they're in a freaking war inside and they don't know if they can win it, but they're just going to keep on the face. And that's called being deceptive, and that's called lying, but we're taught to do that. We're taught to put on a brave face. We're taught to be deceivers in our society. From Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, to politics, religion, and scientific dogmas. We're taught to deceive each other left and right. When you're suffering, it's okay to say that you're suffering. It's not a bad thing, because that's going to expand your capacity. That's going to help you condition yourself for when things get even harder than they are today, that you can survive hardship, but people don't want to even think about hardship. Again, everyone's about love, 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 and happiness, and that's it. And then when they can't even put on that brave face anymore of the love and the happiness, then they fold and they do themselves in. And you've seen it. I mean, even in the finance world, when Bernie Madoff completely wiped out so many people because people were like putting all their eggs in his basket, they did themselves in and said, okay, instead of saying, okay, I was being greedy and I put all of my clients' eggs in Bernie Madoff's basket, and he wiped out all of his whole business, instead of just facing the music and be like, yeah, I was greedy and come to terms with that. No, the people, they can't handle that kind of hardship, and they did themselves in. And that's what happens out there. When people can't handle hardship, they do themselves in. And that's because you have been told that you should never suffer, you should never have to deal with pain, never should have to change the way you do things. And so they set you up to fail in politics, religion, and scientific dogmas, in the medical and the holistic system. Which is why you've heard me say so much stuff about oncology. And so I should read this about CYST and sister and system. I mean, it's all in plain sight. Everything is in the words. The truth and the facts are in the words. Okay? The truth and the facts are in the words if you pay attention. But people are so busy right now, which I get. People are trying to survive and they don't have time to figure out what the hell. All they could do is give themselves over to professionals who then take their life and their money and take down their whole family. And so do the people that are, the professionals are doing that. They're taking away their own life force because they're destroying their clientele. But remember, we have 12.9, 6.9, 7.9 billion people. Y'all are expendable, obviously. Sister. CYST. CYSTER. Like sister. CISgender. Note, when you surgically or chemically or herbally food attack, people are saying, oh yeah, use food as medicine. Don't use your food to attack your body. Then you're going to confuse the body and your body will reject your food and then you'll starve. And so those that use food as medicine, you have it backwards and you're part of the medical system. So when you surgically or chemically or herbally food attack a tumor, growth, or a cyst in your body, you will make it stronger. And so they continuously attacked her cyst for many years, for however long as she's been around. And that thing is pretty strong. Stop attacking people, places, and things if you disagree, and start making yourself stronger. So those that attacked me through the Dr. Phil, through the last 6 years, you didn't make me weaker, you made me fucking stronger. Okay? And that was kind of the whole point of the Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil's all part of the whole Hollywood MK Ultra. Shaping people, shaping society. They understand that a lot of pressure, a person's either going to fold and crawl away and lick their wounds, or they're going to become stronger and prove everybody wrong. There was only two ways I would have gone with the Dr. Phil. So you really can't fault Dr. Phil for what he does, because he's employed to do that. Make people strong and then destroy the weak. And he didn't destroy me, he made me stronger. So then you're like, what the hell? Yeah, There's two sides to the medical system. They destroy the weak and make the strong stronger, and I guess that's how it works. Shit, that was just a fucking revelation. The medical system destroys the weak, so if you die and you're a part of the medical system, I guess you're weak. Holy shit, that's almost everybody out there, Jillian. Well, no shit, you were bred to be weak. And then the medical system also can make people stronger. Because once you figure out what's going on, you leave it. You leave the medical and the holistic system, and you realize, so thank you for making me stronger. Thank you for having me resist you for a certain amount of time until I realize what you're actually about. And so you're only making your perceived opponent stronger when you attack it, and the medical and the holistic system attack what they perceive as the enemy, and then it becomes the person who is weaker. So those who are dealing with oncology, you think, oh yeah, I beat cancer. No, you didn't beat cancer. You survived the oncology, but you're getting weaker and weaker and weaker. Every single time you resist the body going through its natural processes. And so you can look at sister in one of two ways, or both ways. Someone who's a growth or related to you that was taken off of some point of your body, or someone who is sucking the life out of you, and only one of you will live because one of you is more parasitic than the other. So you look at twins, and one twin has more weight than the other twin. You look at brothers and sisters, you see where the genetic distribution in some brothers and sisters. I've seen it where a sister is bigger than the brother, and so when you figure it out, the sister probably is going to survive climate change, and the brother is going to be like, going to be struggling if they even survive. And I've seen vice versa. I've seen the brother same thing. I've seen the brother really strong and the sister really skinny and emaciated and probably not going to survive climate change or a diagnosable condition. So everything is in plain sight. And also you see it in marriages and families or marriages. One is bigger than the other. That one person most likely will survive climate change and a diagnosable condition, and the other person will not survive a diagnosable condition. It's the body mass index is what's the difference between someone who survives diagnosable conditions and climate change and the one who doesn't. So everything is in plain sight. C-I-S-I-T-E and S-I-G-H-T. It's all in the words. Some of you keep repeating words that are destroying you, even though you think you're saving your life and you're justifying everything you're doing. But no, you're not saving your life. You're destroying your life, and you're teaching your children how to destroy their life when the climate becomes so aggressive and they can't fathom change the way they think and do things, and they will apply themselves with antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, and even more medical trauma, like surgeries. And then say, well, I don't care about, a cyst growing down the road. I don't plan to live forever. I don't plan to do the JJ world. Okay, well then most likely you're playing Russian roulette, and maybe you live to be 20, maybe you live to be 25. You absolutely have no idea because you're not even aware of the environment. And yeah, maybe some people, 40 years ago could have lived to be 50 if they were in the body today, but in this environment, that may not be the case. But you're like, oh, well, it's God's will. Well, yeah, that's the whole of religion is justifying that we are in a depopulation agenda. You see how that works, right? Politics, religion, and science has given you an allowance to be like, hey, I don't care. It's God's will. I'll just do what I want. Okay, that's fine. And you see how many people are in those type of religions where it's always God's will. They never have any responsibility. A lot of people. And that's her choice. And so, even though my dog was never diagnosed with cancer, which are new growths from trauma, competition trapped in the body incorrigible beta cells, if I had not acted quickly, the trauma of past surgical procedures would have destroyed her. And I'm still in the battle. It's not over. I mean, when I see the thing grow bigger and I see her grow smaller, I have to then keep and bring up the food intake and make her heavier so she has substance for that conversion process, because who's to say that she isn't building up an army inside that cyst? And one day when her army is strong enough and it goes and attacks, who's to say that it might puncture and then allow things to finally go free, or she poops so much and all that I mean, those are the two things that are going on. So I can't go in and interfere, because either she's going to shit it all out, or it's going to open up and release all that cottage cheese. Okay, so I just got to keep feeding her and keep having her keep up with the growth of that cyst. And that's essentially what everyone has to do out there. And the bigger you are, the more weight you have without being morbidly obese, the better chances you're going to survive that kind of competition in your body, because everybody has some kind of tumor or cyst in their body. They just don't know it yet, or they don't want to find out. And the only time they will find out is if they're like all, proactive, and then they're faced with a choice, or they wait till something feels bad and they go get a test and they see shadows, and then now they're faced with a choice yet again. And so, yeah, that's how you have to look at the world. It is competition. It's dog eat dog, literally. Microbe eat microbe. How you respond to disease will be the reason you will live or die. Just because you found a mass and it was diagnosed didn't mean you were going to die from whatever they projected onto you. Projection and transference is huge in the medical system. It's all psychological operations. I learned that in my psychology courses in college. And yeah, I mean, my mom was a psychotherapist, but I learned like some of the technical language in not Chapman, but it was in Orinda. John F. Kennedy, JFK University in Orinda. What used to be in Orinda, California. Now it's, probably Pleasant Hill or somewhere. So, my husband? So projection and transference is huge in the medical system. It's all psychological operations. So anyways, you were just told that was going to happen, that you're going to die if you don't do something, by the fear religions called oncology and the medical holistic veterinary surgical system. The power of suggestion and authority seduces people into destruction. So when a white coat tells you, oh, you're going to die from that mass and you have to go get radiation and chemotherapy and go get it surgically taken out, then you now preempted a death process, simply because you were trusting a company that is running a business. Billions of dollars go into genome modification while you're alive, sustaining a trapped, closed immune system. So when you're getting all your V's, guess what's going on is you are taking on more innovation in a trapped, closed immune system. And guess what? You never know when something is going to go awry. Nothing is poison, but you have a closed immune system. Things don't have a chance to escape and allow you to release the pressure. So the growth, tumor, cysts, keloids, warts, boils, sustained are used in science for the next generation, because that is the next generation of growth in your body that you have no idea how to deal with. So then you are a human experiment. How many times have you've gotten a sample, or you've had a biopsy done, or they've taken liquid and stuff from you, urine and feces and stuff from your body? Oh yeah, it's all going into biotech with you are actually a human guinea pig in the medical holistic. And then you're also working your ass off for a system that supports this. You're like, oh yeah, I got to go to work every single day, which is fine. You got to make your money. But some people need to retire and take care of themselves, because the business is going to kick their butt. It's going to destroy them. But again, people want to be the sacrificial lamb. They want to be the hero, the savior. Remember, you're replaceable. You're not indispensable. Everyone is dispensable, except you're not dispensable to your family, but you're definitely dispensable to your company. Because if you died, they would just replace you just like that. They'd mourn you for a minute, and then they'd replace you. So you have to be the one to then say you're important, because no one else is going to. Who's to say that the guy girl next to you wasn't developed from the wart that you gave up to the lab a couple years ago? Now that is profound, because we all have some kind of DNA from somebody else's biopsy that was used as a therapy. And so, yeah, who's to say that the guy and the girl next to you wasn't developed from the wart that you gave up to the lab a couple of years ago? And so if you were ever diagnosed because they found a mass where you felt poorly one day, so then you check yourself into the hospital or the ER through the fear, you start systematically destroying yourself from the fear. It's like clockwork. People do this every single day. Emergency rooms are full of people who are starting to destroy themselves. doctor's appointments are all full of people who are systematically destroying themselves. In the meantime, starving themselves and their children are also starving. And the only reason why all the indoctrinated tell you that you will die is because the medical system only practices one type of medicine. So of course, when they say it's predictable, because they never change their course. They always respond to disease with anti-inflammatories, antibiotics, or cut something out. And so that's why they have stage 1 cancer, stage 2 cancer, stage 3, and stage 4, because you don't do anything different and then told to get early diagnosis, so then they can prematurely, systematically destroy you. And you've seen it all the time. Oh yeah, go get early diagnosis. Go get your mammograms. Go get your, your prostate exam, or go get your colon exam, or colonoscopies, or look for polyps. And some people get destroyed sooner than others relative to how much they weigh and predisposed to issues. And I've seen 2 ladies that weigh next to nothing not survive oncology, and then 2 men that weigh way more than they do survive oncology. And you're like, well, I already see the writing on the wall. When you have nothing to you, you can't handle not only the cancer that's in your body, but also the treatments. If you actually fed yourself and released some of the demons and put on some weight, you might actually have just, reversed that diagnosis. But no, people are too afraid to feel pain. They're too afraid to pull out their own poop programming, and they're too afraid to release. They're too afraid of everything, and they listen to all their friends and family and the medical system, and this is where they end up, in the morgue, at the end of the order of operations. So it's not a coincidence that slight females don't survive their cancer diagnosis, and why big burly men can survive cancer diagnosis and disease and the treatments. Body mass index is the key thing to surviving in medical diagnosis, because the treatments are meant to destroy you systematically, which is why they must be FDA approved, so that way you're not the wiser how deadly it is, because it happens over time, not right away. And that's what people don't realize. But when you accelerate the particles and you accelerate the atmosphere, like in climate change, then you see the writing on the wall. You see what cures do, why the FDA has to approve all the different cures on the market. Now you see why, and now it's too late for a lot of you, because you're too indoctrinated and too comfortable in your lifestyle and belief systems. You won't change for damn sure. So that's why you can't make claims of cures, because cures are deadly, especially when you are already starving. The JJ world is not a cure. If you use the JJ world as a cure, you're no different than the medical system. And I'm also not a detox or a cleanse, just so you know. Then what is the JJ world? It is a catalyst to bring up what you've buried underneath layers and layers of cures and medical holistic trauma. The JJ world makes you deal with what you buried so you can finally do it correctly and survive the inevitable. Because inevitably, if you have a tumor or a cancer or some kind of diagnosis that hasn't been actually diagnosed, it's going to come up as soon as your body starts releasing itself, being eaten alive by the thing inside of you. And then that thing now is now becoming even more metastasized, and then your body wants to push it out, and then you feel the pain and you're trying to stop it, and you're fighting against your body from releasing that demon. And that's the fight that people are in. And then they employ the medical system to help the enemy destroy you. And so because what you bury what is in the dark always comes to light, and it always does. Okay, your years and years of NyQuil and Dayquil and aspirin and whatever remedies, Theraflu and apple cider vinegar and cannabis, it's all gonna then show your body will show you what that has done to you over many years. Deception in the dark will always be the truth in the light, and that's why people pass away, because they can't handle the truth of what they did in the past. And yeah, when you're using countless remedies and surgeries for many, many years, and that's all deceiving you, saying, oh yeah, I'm healthy because I got a surgery, I'm healthy because I got this remedy. No, you're not. But then we have to figure out, what does healthy mean? Oh, that you're balanced, that you're equilibrium. So you're willing to sacrifice tomorrow so you can have what you want today? That's essentially what people are doing. They're sacrificing their future so they can be in the game today. Is that being healthy? I guess, it's redefining what healthy is. But it's not saving your life. See, that's the deception. Since we can't seem to agree upon what healthy is in our society, nobody is saving anyone's life in the medical holistic. Let's just put it that way. Don't say that oncology is saving your life, because you have no idea when you're going to fucking die. You don't have a fortune teller that tells you your whole freaking life. Oh, but they said that if I keep that. Yeah, well, because they didn't tell you anything more. They omitted another truth that would have saved your life. They omitted the truth that if you would have just dealt with the pain, ate all food in the food supply, pulled out the fecal programming, opened up your sphincter and other parts of your body so you can release, you wouldn't have to die from that tumor or that cyst. And so is lying by omission lying? Well, they don't have to tell you everything. That's why you see some of the definitions and some of the answers to the questions, they don't tell you everything. They just say exactly, but it's what people make things mean is what that's you have to know how to ask the right questions. And when people don't ask the right questions, what do I mean by the right questions? Questions that give you and allude you to another truth besides the one that's being shown to you. If you just take what the medical holistic system says for face value, then you're screwed. But people do because they don't know any better. They are so blind. They don't even know that they don't even know to ask certain questions until it's too late. When I'm looking at my dog's freaking cyst and I see the aspiration point and I see how raw it is. Oh, it sucks, but she's doing okay and she's resting and I'm making sure that she gets fed, she gets water, she gets pooped, and she rests and she walks when she needs to. She lets me know when she has to pee and I help her walk her outside and she pees. And this is a 24-hour basis. I'm doing this 24 hours. I'm putting a hot compress, not too hot, a warm compress with salt on it just to help get the lymph nodes open and let that thing release. And I keep feeding her so she can handle that energy conversion. And I'm like swearing under my breath against the veterinary system, swearing under my breath against the medical surgical system, swearing under my breath against the plastic surgery industry. And I'm just like, ooh. Because when we want to do something different, we want a second chance at life. And now we have to pay the piper for everything that we didn't know was going to hurt us down the road when we finally wanted to redirect. And now it's pretty extraordinary seeing the damage. And some of you have gone under countless surgeries, and then now you think you're strong enough, which I'm sure you are, to become whole again. You will see the same thing that my dog is seeing. Some of you. You'll be like, what the hell is this? How do I get rid of it? You don't get rid of it. Your body will figure out how to deal with it. You just got to respect it, protect it, feed it until your body's strong enough to release it. That's the demon. And so deception in the dark will always be truth in the light. And that's why people pass away, because they can't handle the truth of what they did in the past. People want to blame the JJ world for their issues, but no, it was the ignorance of that you buried with the medical holistic system that I finally forced you to look at, quotes, and you didn't like what you were seeing. I didn't start the war. You just kept sustaining it. And then you bitched at me for trying to make you look at your war differently and respond to it differently just so you can survive it and not succumb to it, even though you justify dying from the war through your religion. And that's many religions out there justifying dying so they never have to deal with the repercussions of their choices. That's called absolution. Absolution is trying to be guilt-free and not pay the piper, and that's you pay with your life. That's the sacrificial lambs. Those in the medical, holistic, politics, religion, and science world. That's absolution. That's being guilt-free for anything that you've done, and you pay with your life. Those are the sacrificial lambs. So no, you didn't beat cancer. You survived oncology. And even those who were diagnosed and used CBD oil and other alternative methods would have still survived if they ate baby food and pulled out the fecal programming. So no, the CBD and cannabis didn't fucking save you, because you would have survived anyways. And so people make correlation equals causation. Then that's their religion. That's why the holistic industry is a booming industry. People would have survived their diagnosis anyways. No, cannabis didn't fucking save you. You thought it did because you thought you were going to die, but you weren't. You were still under the spell of the medical and the holistic industry. Cannabis just puts you in a different world, and that's it. It's like a painkiller, but it produces beta cells. And if you're not releasing them, those beta cells will start eating at you, and then they can also become cancer and or excessively age you and make you fall apart. So cannabis is only for people who have an open system who can release the demons. If you haven't opened your system, release the demons, then the cannabis will destroy you. But then you're not going to want to smoke so much cannabis when you have an open system, because you have no need to escape reality, because you actually like your reality just fine. So anyway, if they would have done something different, like eat baby food and pulled out the fecal programming, they wouldn't have to go through this procedure. But as you know, people don't want to change, and then they are political and blame the system, or people force their, or people, or other people for their own personal ignorance. And they think the cure for cancer is hidden from them. Oh no, honey. Everything they're doing in the medical holistic system is a cure for cancer. But your body gets antibiotic resistance and says, okay, I want to live. And so that's why there's so many strains of pot. That's why there's a million oncology methods. That's why there's so many ways of which you can weaponize food against the body by making it more aggressive. And the body thinks that the food is poison, and that's why you have allergic reactions to food, because you use food as medicine. And that's also the weapon of the holistic industry, is using food as medicine, causing excessive allergies in the population. And they want to go and blame the V's. No, it's using food as medicine. Using walnut oil, using all the tinctures, aggressively weaponizing food against the body. So no wonder you have all the allergies. And so oncology is a cure for cancer, because you end up passed away from their myriads and myriads of methods. Cannabis is a cure for cancer, because you end up passed away inevitably. Everything you use to stop evolution is a cure, and it's deadly. And so if you dealt with the pain and fed your body and pulled out the programming, yeah, you would expand your capacity to deal with pain internally and emotionally, psychologically, physical pain, but not by somebody else, but because you have to pay back what you did to your body and what your parents did to their bodies, that they gave you those inheritable traits. Remember, even your parents' parents did the same thing in the medical and the holistic system. Just like the shamans who give all those little tinctures and plant medicine, plant-based medicine, they also have attacked generations of people. And that's why people die and reproduce, even in the Native American world. So even Indian medicine or Native American medicine is not really anything that different. Okay? So don't tell me that, oh yeah, go see a shaman instead, that use the food as medicine instead, go do these herbal things. No, it's all the same shit, guys. And so you have to finally break the chain of the curse of medicine and remedies and everything having to do with stopping the pain of release. Okay? So at some point, some of you have to break the chain of the curse of the medical holistic industry. And so oncology is a religion, and it's based on fear. When you're told if you don't do this oncology after discovering a mass, regardless of how you found it, it's like the friends and family in the medical say, you'll go to hell if you don't destroy it, even if it destroys the patient. So that's exactly what happens. Like when your pastor says, okay, if you don't do all the good works, you're going to go to hell. Well, that's just like your doctor saying, well, if you don't do this, you're going to go to hell. If you don't do this, you don't do that, you're going to go to hell. And that's why people get scared into oncology. And then their friends and family, with their compassionate, oh, poor Johnny, Billy, Susie, you're in pain. Oh, they found a mass. Well, maybe it's time to be aggressive. Let's be aggressive. Let's go put you into the radiation and into all these different aggressive therapies. And the person is then losing their hair and losing weight and they're all deformed and everything else. And you think that was saving them? No. And so, yeah, the medical and the holistic system is one big cult or culture, and they are cozy. They work hand in hand. They are fucking cozy. And I will say the surgeons are the butchers, because you will pay for that once you want to become whole again. My dog is paying for all the butchers destroying her body. And so I can speak from experience. I see now the past. When I finally am able to bring up my dog's predisposed issues, I see the past. Sugar, you need to go out? Okay. You want to get up? Come on. All right. Let's go. Okay. Which way? You want to go this way? Okay. All right. Hold on a second. Come on. Come on, girl. It's okay. Give me a moment. Take a break for a second. Give me a moment. Come on. Let's go. walk around here. Thought she had to pee, but she didn't have to pee. Sorry. So yeah, the medical, destroying her body. So I only found this out because I didn't let her die and let the secrets go with her. When people die, the secrets of the medical holistic industry die with them, and no one is a wiser, and the kids repeat the same mistakes as our parents because they were never alerted to what really happens when you destroy yourself with surgery and medicine. In the past, watching perfectly healthy people get destroyed by the oncology, like a childhood classmate like Kirk Akahoshi, was devastating. It was like watching World War II over again, but in a different way. When someone who has all their hair and they have weight to them and they look very healthy and they go through the oncology and now they have no hair and they're freaking skinny and they lose the collagen and they're saying, oh yeah, it's the cancer that got to them. No, it was a fucking oncology that got to them. But they're blaming the cancer instead. How convenient. So watching this really healthy dude go through that kind of chemotherapy and radiation was devastating when you actually think about what was going on. And cannabis wouldn't have been any different either, because you would have dealt with that thing coming back even stronger. Every time you use cannabis and CBD oil on parts of your body, yeah, you're making the monster stronger whenever you attack it with aggressive elements. Chemically, surgically, using frequencies like lasers. My dog looks awesome except for the pain back to Piper for all those medical procedures, but she is soft, her fur is soft, and her skin is clear, and her face is beautiful. She looks like a healthy dog except for that large cyst that we must deal with and not cut anything anymore out of her or aspirate it. And now it's just respecting that freaking alien on her belly. And so yes, all religions are all about biological karma. The Egyptians, like Imhotep in antiquity, knew exactly how to develop a society. And you could still have an amazing society, but only some people will know this and understand it. And so when you think about it, secret societies are only secret because there's so many ignorant people that don't want to learn something different. Because right now I'm giving you guys information, right? Some people will take this on. Others will be like, no, you're stupid, Jillian. Nope, nope, nope. And so then when someone wants to do something different and people don't like it, they have to go underground. But they're trying to save themselves, right? So when you have, let's say, Group A who understands what's going on and trying to save people, but you have to deal with pain and you have to induce some pressure and stress to expand people's capacity and innovation. And then Group B is like, oh no, that's horrible. That's suffering. That's this, that's that. And they're so close-minded. And then they're like, and so then the people that want to save humanity have to then go and infiltrate in a different way through academia, through whatever. And then you have all these secret societies because the society that understands how shit works can't work in the face of those who don't understand. And so then they have to go underground and do things like underground because we have these intolerant people who can't learn anything, and they're in masses. They are huge groups. We have so many people who are so intolerant out there, and yeah, some of them are armed. And so then you have this war. And then you have this whole thing called secret society because the ones that were intolerant who couldn't evolve made them secret, forced them to be secret. And so really there is such a thing as secret societies. It's just the ignorant don't want to at all evolve or take any new information on. And then they blame them for being secretive because if they were to be out in the open, the intolerant people would slam on them. Slam them down. And that's exactly what I dealt with through the whole JJ world. I watched it with my very eyes. When I started evolving, I was being slammed by those that claim secret societies who hate the Illuminati. See how that works? It's all self-fulfilling prophecy. There is such a thing as secret in a world that is open, that is also closed. Half the world's open, half the world's closed. The ones that are closed-minded, they're the ones that are dying. They're the ones in the medical holistic system, getting everything taken out. And they laugh at me. And they're like, yeah, you're supposed to die someday. Those are the closed-minded people that say you're supposed to die someday. And then they claim that everyone else is secret and they're the enemy. It's the Illuminati. It's this, it's that. So you see where all that conspiracy world comes from? And so, yes, all religions are biological karma. The Egyptians in antiquity knew exactly how to develop a society. And so you could still have an amazing society, but only some people will know this and understand it, because the other half are so fucking intolerant that you can't talk to them, not even intelligently, because they will call you every name in the book and then tell you that, yeah, you belong to the Illuminati, or you're this, or you're that, or whatever. And so secret societies are not really secret. It's just some people don't have the capacity to understand esoteric knowledge because they refuse to evolve. And then they blame people and call the societies who understood and who understand secret societies, when the ignorant were the ones who made it so secret because they didn't want to understand it. Everything is in plain sight. You can call it hidden because people choose to turn the other direction. They choose to turn the cheek. And where did that come from? You can Google that. I'm not going to say it. When you turn the cheek, you blind yourself. And you know where that term came from. Those of you who are in those religions, you know who talked about turning the cheek. And that's purposeful ignorance. Purposeful ignorance. So that's how it's so easy to lead a lamb to slaughter, because people choose to turn the cheek. That's what I'm saying. People have chosen to destroy themselves, and they have no one to blame but themselves. And you can give them all the information in the world, and they will say, I don't care. I plan to die anyways. And then they don't. Then they want to wear their seatbelt. They want to wear a helmet. They want to wear a mask. They want to, I don't know, do other things to protect themselves from any kind of harm. That's how screwed up our society is. Hey, sugar. And so, yeah, my dog is doing okay. It's just that it's a day-by-day basis. But I am experiencing the medical trauma that was done to her by the veterinary system. And so, while yes, if I want to get her socialized, she'll have to get an animal vaccine, and she can handle that. But only after this thing is down and she is relatively healthy. Whatever the hell that means. But I will not compound the issue with anything until this thing is dealt with. Because I have to get her system to be open to handle all the things that are required to move around in our society and to take part in socializing. And when it comes to animals and dogs and socializing and doggy, socializing things that are formalized and state sanctioned, yes, they require vaccines. And they're not bad as long as you have an open system. If a closed system, vaccines can be Russian roulette. So anyways, I'm going to go because I'm going to take care of my dog and feed her, power feed her some more. And you guys have a good day. Thanks. Bye.